Hi, this is John Dreyer for Fender University. I'm here with Chris Fleming. So you just bought that brand new Fender neck. Well, Chris will show you the proper method for filing the nut for the proper string height. Chris, why don't you take us through the steps?
Will do, thanks John. First thing, this is a relatively complicated and specialized process. So unless you feel really comfortable, you're really mechanically handy, and you have the right tools, you may want to take this down to your local repair shop or music store to have an authorized person do this for you, because it could end up being bad, and you don't want that. So what we need to do this job are nut files. These you can get from the internet, from some of the Lutherie supply houses, and these have the correct sizes for the string gauge we're going to do here. And then I have a feeler gauge, and this is a .010 feeler gauge, and that's where we can get the string height correctly from the first fret. Now you'll notice I already have this guitar basically strung up, close to being set up. You want to have all your strings on, you want to have the neck fairly adjusted and the bridge height pretty adjusted before you do this, because if you have a bowed neck and you cut the nut slot too low, you're going to have a problem. And also, if the neck's back bowed a little bit and you don't cut it enough, you could end up with problems. So you want to get the guitar really close to where it's going to be. You'll notice on your Fender neck that the nut slots are already pre-slotted for you. Now this makes it a lot easier. One of the hardest parts of making a nut and putting the string height to the right level is actually putting in these slots evenly. So this will make your job a lot easier if you choose to do it yourself. So we have a string set here that I believe is 9 to 42. Yes. And so we'll take our files and find the correct file sizes. I usually start on the E string. Now, I've been doing this a really long time, so I do it a little differently than some shops might, but the basic idea is the same. First of all, I want to take my time. I don't want to go too far too fast, because you can't put material back. So the first thing I do is open up the slot. This is the low E string, so this is a .4243 gauge, and I just carefully start my slot. Now, the way I do this is I just look at the reflection of the string in the first fret. If you take a look from the side here like I am, you can see as you push down, first of all, I'm holding my finger on the 3rd fret so that the string is down on the 2nd fret, and then I can press at the nut and see how far I am from the fret. So I know I have a bit of a ways to go, so I'm going to go pretty quick. As you use the file, you want to keep it straight, perpendicular to the string. You don't want to go this way or that way, because it'll cause a kink in the string and it'll go out of tune easily. So I'm getting there. Now, most setup guys will use this gauge, and that's also a really good way to do it, and maybe the way that you choose to do it.
Is there a certain angle over the nut that you need to be, or is it straight?
Yeah, there is actually. Usually what you want to do is to point your file kind of down at an angle towards the string post. You don't want to go too far, because you can hit the edge of the finish here on the back of the nut. Looks like I did that a little bit already. But you do want to angle back, because the idea is by the time you're done, you want a slight ramp down towards the string tree. And what you want to do here is make sure that when you're done with this, that the string's resting basically on the front of the nut. If you were to make an angle or make it round, the nut might buzz, the string might buzz in the nut, I should say, or it might have bad intonation. So the idea is to have the string resting on the leading edge of the nut when you're done with this. I'll get the strings real close, and then I'll go on to the next one. And then I'll go back and fine tune it. Now, different people like different string height at the nut. It's good to have it pretty close, because it can take it out of tune. If you press from too high, it will change the tune. And it's very difficult to intonate. So you want it within about 10 thousandths. And that's, see, I still have a ways to go. So that's probably where I would leave it. Now I'm going to go to the next nut file. The process is basically the same all the way across. You really need to take your time with this though, because it's real easy to go too far. And if you go too far, there's not much you can do about it. Then what I would do to finalize this is I'd actually play a little bit, and I can feel that it definitely needs to come down a little bit. It's real important to get the strings even to the first fret across the strings, because it'll feel funny. It'll be difficult to stay in tune, and so it's important to get them level. So the next thing I would do is to use a gauge, which is a good way to do it. And this one's pretty close. Not too bad.
Thank you very much, Chris.
My pleasure.
For more information and to find out how to purchase Fender necks and bodies and other parts, please visit fender.com.